Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. A brand new Avengers Doomsday trailer has leaked out about Thor's character with shiny, crisp HD footage. It's not in English, so I'm going to translate what he actually says during it, but it's a little bit different from the version of the trailer that leaked out last week with just the audio. There was also a much more HD, crisp-looking version of the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer that leaked out too. I might do another video for that, but they're supposed to release an official version, or they might release an official version now because the HD version leaked out in another day or two. So I'm going to wait just like a day or two before doing another Spider-Man video. Christmas week has just started, plenty more trailers coming. The only bummer about this new Thor trailer, though, is that it does not tell us why he was crying. Why was Thor crying? I just did a video for the Captain America Avengers Doomsday trailer that was playing in front of Avatar, Fire and Ash and a couple other big movies last week. Each week, they're changing the Avengers Doomsday trailer that plays in front of that. So later this week, they're going to swap out the Captain America version of the Avengers Doomsday trailer for this Thor trailer. It seems like they're just cycling the characters week to week, so like next week, like another different trailer after Thor will play. We'll see who winds up being in that one, like a Doctor Doom trailer or a Loki trailer or somebody else. At the beginning of this new Thor HD Avengers Doomsday trailer, he says, "Father," talking to Odin, All-Father, "all my life I have answered the calls of honor, duty, in combat." Very Shakespearean of again. People have been wanting Thor to get way more serious since Thor Love and Thunder. We actually see him in these woods, and it's the same place where the house where he's living with his adopted daughter, Love, Gor's daughter, the daughter of eternity. And he goes on to say, "But destiny has offered me something I had never hoped for, a child," obviously talking about Love, "a life preserved from the storm. Grant me the strength of the fathers of all things so that I may fight once more." Notice the translation there, father of all things, as in the All-Father. Technically, Thor should be king, he should be All-Father now. We see him walk into his cabin where he's living with Love to her bed as she's in bed and then sits by her bedside talking to her. This just seems like it's happening later that same night because he's not wearing his uniform. He doesn't have Stormbreaker with him. Like they're just getting ready to go to bed. If you didn't realize, Love, the character, is played by his real-life daughter. They just put his real-life daughter in Thor Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi's real-life children were also in Thor Love and Thunder too, because so much of the movie hinged on Gorr stealing children.
Go to hell, demon!
There have been a lot of rumors about children in the MCU being critical to Doctor Doom's plot. I'll address that in a second, just because these first two teasers have hinged on Captain America having a son and now Thor's daughter. Then it cuts to a shot of him kneeling in the woods. He's back in his suit, and he has Stormbreaker with him. And because the footage isn't quite high quality enough, like it's a little too blurry, this does seem like another new suit that he's wearing after the end of Thor Love and Thunder. Like this isn't his shiny blue and gold suit. More likely what's going on here, because all the different characters are just showing up as they looked the last time you saw them, is that this is a version of the Thor Love and Thunder suit because he is sleeveless like he was at the end of that movie. But also, you can't really see the gold highlights popping here, so it might just have a lot of wear and tear on it, which is why it seems like a new suit. But technically, it's still the Thor Love and Thunder suit. Captain America, for instance, when he was putting his suit in storage in his version of the Avengers Doomsday trailer, it was just the same suit that he wore at the end of Avengers Endgame. Just because of the logic of him time traveling, going back to live with Peggy Carter, he was wearing that suit when he went to live with Peggy Carter, so of course he was going to be storing that version of the suit. Probably the most comic book accurate suit that Captain America ever wore in the MCU. If we're talking about Thor's best suits so far, I do think the Infinity War suit and the Endgame suit, it's basically the same suit, looks better than the Thor Love and Thunder suit. But I did like the idea that they were working up to Rune King Thor's version of the suit. Then his prayer goes on as he continues praying to Odin in Valhalla, saying, "Defeat a new enemy and return to her, not as a warrior, but as a protector. They do not know war, but tranquility." Talking about his daughter, Love, and other children, just children in general. Then saying, "The one that I have never known," talking about the peace that Thor has never known because he's been at war his entire life. "I beg you, Father, hear my prayer." For those of you now asking, can Odin actually hear him in Valhalla? Yes, technically he can, because you remember, they are very advanced beings in addition to actually having real god-level powers. They are actual gods. But Asgardians also just have very high levels of technology. In the way they explain Valhalla inside the MCU is that it's just an alternate dimension that your consciousness travels to when you die. They kind of got into that during Moon Knight. Your consciousness travels to an alternate dimension when you die based on your belief system, or if you have a contract with a higher level cosmic being, in the case of Mark Spector, because Mark Spector was not Egyptian. He didn't worship the Egyptian pantheon. But he did form the contract with Khonshu to become his avatar, to become Moon Knight, and that's why when he died, he went to the Duat, the alternate dimension that represented the Egyptian afterlife. There are some people, when they heard the audio, wondered if the love that he was referring to was Jane Foster. Obviously, this trailer debunks that. No, like he's very clearly talking about his young, actual, physical daughter, Love. But I do think that Jane Foster Thor is supposed to return in Avengers Secret Wars. I don't know exactly how they're going to explain that, but I think it has something to do with the Thor core based on the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars. I think they're going to be doing a version of that during Secret Wars. But a lot of the rumors are saying that only Thor himself will remember everything from before. All the other versions of Thor are not supposed to remember everything from before Battleworld is formed. This also might provide an opportunity for them to finally do Beta Ray Bill. They were going to do him during Thor Ragnarok. You can actually see his head on the Grand Master's tower here, but Kevin Feige said that they just decided at a certain point that instead of doing him in the Gladiator pit here, because it was going to be such a quick scene and they didn't want to spend the extra money on doing the CG for Beta Ray Bill, they just decided to save him for a future movie. Cut to many, many years later, like almost 10 years later, and we might actually get Beta Ray Bill in 2027. When it actually comes to the theory about everybody's children, just because we have Franklin Richards, Fantastic Four child, now we have Thor's daughter Love, there were some people that were wondering if Doctor Doom had some secret plan and the children would be part of some subplot during Avengers Doomsday, with Doctor Doom trying to go around stealing everyone's children like Gore stole children during Thor Love and Thunder. I will be honest, that does not sound like a very good plan. Yes, Doctor Doom would want to steal Franklin Richards because of his power cosmic. That does make sense. The power cosmic is very important in the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars. You could say there's some special X factor on a story level to make as many X-Men puns as possible for Gore's daughter Love because she was rebirthed by Eternity, and Eternity is such a powerful cosmic entity. He is the living entity of the entire universe of the MCU. This is also why she has special powers and can wield Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. But at least the way they used her during Thor Love and Thunder, they were just really open-ended and didn't make it seem like they were in a rush to bring her back. But we will see what the Russos wind up doing with that plot thread. She might just be in this trailer here just for continuity's sake, because they have to explain what has Thor been doing this whole time since Thor Love and Thunder. Well, it seems like they've been living in this cabin and they've just been going around the universe helping different races like we saw at the end of Thor Love and Thunder. Like pretty much what you see is what you've gotten from him over the last couple of years. But it does seem like based on his dialogue, he is embracing a more responsible role. Like he feels like he's a parent now. So like, okay, I need to actually get serious. And all this talk about bringing peace to the universe and the war to end all wars, that's kind of what Avengers Doomsday is meant to be with all the incursions and secret wars in Battleworld. The multiverse war to end all wars. Fear not though, I'm sure Marvel will find some excuse to do another Avengers movie and put war somewhere in the title. There are plenty more subtitles they can use that have war in them. Chris Hemsworth and Kevin Feige have both talked about him also doing Thor 5, so I think if any of the characters survive the end, and the OG Avengers survive the end of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, Thor would be one of them, just so they can leave that open-ended if they do decide to go through with Thor 5. But I think most of their focus heading into Marvel Phase 7 is all about X-Men, mutants, and some of the brand new stuff that they're doing with all those characters. I've already done a video about Kevin Feige's big Marvel Phase 7 panel that he did a while ago where he did confirm that they were planning on doing a reboot. They called it a reset of singular timelines, but that's basically what a reboot is. Some of the characters from before Secret Wars will stay on, and some characters will be recast that they want to recast, and they'll just change some of the backstories in the way that the Arrowverse did. The really good example for this, for what they're doing with the MCU after Secret Wars, is what the Arrowverse did after Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they collapsed all these different realities all onto the same Earth. If you never watched the Flash TV show in the later seasons right after Crisis on Infinite Earths, Cisco had one of the best ways of explaining this.
Not only do Superman, Supergirl, and Black Lightning live here, but now our entire timeline has been rewritten so that they've always lived here, and I don't remember owning this shirt.
Now the big question is going to be what's happening with God Loki's character as he's tending the multiverse tree, and that allows Doctor Doom to basically collapse the rest of the multiverse. Like, why does the rest of the multiverse collapse if Loki is watching over everything, trying to prevent that from happening? What the Russos might wind up doing is just say that Loki isn't as powerful as people think that he is. Like, they were too ambiguous with his power levels at the end of Loki Season 2. But I do think, of course, that the Russos want to pay off that line from Infinity War because they helped write that line "The sun will shine on us again, brother," right before that version of Loki got killed by Thanos, and Thor watched it. He had to watch his brother die. And remember, he never met this new version of Loki that they yoinked from the end of the Avengers movie and took to the TVA, who has now lived completely different experiences from that original Loki. So fundamentally, he's kind of a different person, even though he's based on the same version of Loki. Like, he still remembers everything of his experiences with his brother Thor, the MCU version of Thor, from before the Avengers movie. They were both about 1,500 years when the Avengers movie happened, so it's like 1,500 years worth of adventures that they had together. So yes, he does know the MCU Thor pretty well. What would be cool though is if they give the line to pay it off to Thor, where Thor says, "The sun shines on us again, brother," as in past tense, like now it is shining on them again because they are back together. So Russo's, looking at you, do not let us down. Make sure you have a Thor and Loki reunion during Avengers Doomsday. No matter what else happens, you have to have that reunion. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if there's any Easter eggs or references that you spotted in the new footage that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments. Like I said, there's going to be a bunch more Avengers Doomsday trailers that will probably leak out based on past experience. Like if all the ones have been leaking so far, just expect more of this the next couple of weeks. We will see who is in the next teaser next week, and then the one after that. There's supposed to be 4, we will see about that. Also, Marvel, why don't you just release these online so everybody can see them in crisp HD footage? I literally just did a video for another Tom Holland movie, talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day references. He is in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey movie. Click here for my trailer video for that. John Bernthal is in it as well too, so Punisher and Spider-Man in a movie before Spider-Man Brand New Day again. And click here for all my other Avengers Doomsday trailers and Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.